a field near a small village, lost among the hills of the central Russian upland. Nowadays, it is known to millions of people around the world as a field where one of the greatest tank battles of World War II took place. In one day, death reaped the harvest of thousands of human lives on the fields of Prokhorovka. Now it is a field where wheat and rye grow. But in 1943, there was no place to hide from the German tanks. By the middle of 1943, the situation on all fronts turned to the advantage of the USSR. From the moment of Stalingrad's counterattack till March 1943, the Soviet forces defeated a total of 100 enemy divisions. To prevent further deterioration on the southern wing of the German front, the German commanders brought in fresh forces and started advancing against the southwestern Soviet front. On March 16th, the SS Armored Corps conquered Kharkov, and on March 18th, Belgorod. Yet they couldn't advance any further to the north. At that moment, the situation at the Kursk salient became stable. Both sides were preparing for the decisive clash. The German command decided to carry out an offensive, codenamed Operation Citadel, in order to surround and eliminate large groups of Soviet forces by performing strikes from the north, from the Ural region, and from the south, where Belgorod is located. For this attack, the German command had 900,000 soldiers and officers, 10,000 artillery units, and 2,700 tanks. The operation was planned for the middle of May. Hitler was convinced that the sheer size of his army and the suddenness of the attack would bring victory to the Germans. However, Operation Citadel was delayed for more than 2 months until enough vehicles were produced. In particular, Tiger and Panther tanks. This gave the Soviet army a chance to prepare for the battle. To oppose the German forces, the Soviet command gathered almost 1,300,000 soldiers and officers, 25,000 artillery units, and over 3,000 tanks. The Soviet Center Front Army, commanded by Rokossovsky, defended the northern face of the Kursk salient, while the Voronezh Front Army, commanded by General Vatutin, defended the south. These forces were supported by the Steppe Front, led by Colonial General Konev. By the beginning of the summer of 1943, the Soviet forces focused their tank and anti-tank units at the most dangerous points, planted over 400,000 mines, and dug out over 10,000 kilometers of trenches. Finally, they were prepared for the German attack that started in early morning on July 5, 1943. During the next week, the Kursk battle grew wilder and wilder. The SS Tank and Panzer Grenadier divisions broke through the first defensive line after hard battles and went in 35 kilometers deep. The Prokhorovka clash was to become the turning point of these bloody battles.
At Prokhorovka, the Germans gathered and threw into battle all their tank units that remained after those hard battles. They wanted to repeat their breakthrough, like they did at Stalingrad. But we managed to resist. It lasted 2 days, July 10 and July 11. With no tanks at all, we only had anti-tank rifles and grenades.
The evening of July 11, 1943, it is the 7th day of Operation Citadel.
There was Marshal Vasilevsky again. They went on field work. They marked the deployment line, marked everything, and started reporting. And then the German attack. It's coming. A huge wave is coming.
Soon, one of the greatest tank battles in history was to begin.
You see, it's the most agonizing wait, when there is preparation fire, and then we need to go into battle. Like that. Hurry up! How long should we wait?
July 12th, 8:30 a.m. The forces of the 5th Guards All-Arms Army and the 5th Guards Armored Army, after 15 minutes of preparation fire, delivered a counterstrike. The huge armored waves moved in, facing one another. About 1,200 tanks and SPGs simultaneously took part in these battles. The largest tank battle in history unfolded on a field near Prohorovka, between the railway and the bend of the river Psol.
There they go, the two sides. They shoot, one dies, another dies. Those who remain move on, and their ways cross like that. So I found myself at the left flank, just like that, when our T-70s entered the battle. A shell hit our left track. We didn't manage to turn the tank in time, so the track broke. Our mechanic and I replaced it quickly. He continued fixing and adjusting, and I took the levers. And I see the German tanks coming. They were not Tigers, but some weaker tanks, apparently. I had some smoke bombs and grenades in the tank. I lit one up and put it in the turret as if the tank was burning. I put one more smoke grenade, another one, and looked through the slit in front of me. Enemy tanks kept coming. This meant they were closer to me. So I shoot 3 times, one after another, and 3 German tanks were destroyed.
It was a horrible battle. Tanks exploded and armor burst because of close-ranged shots. There were tremendous losses of armored vehicles on both sides.
There is a well-known peak there, 226 meters high, the Shperny Field, where our division lost 82% of its personnel. Yet we resisted, and the Germans didn't pass.
By the end of the day, after 11 hours of bloodshed, neither side had conquered even a small piece of land. The fields of Prohorovka were littered with burning tank hulls.
And in the evening, the commanders of the other tanks, all of my platoon was still alive then, came to me. Only I had a radio on the tank, others didn't. We came up to the radio and said sadly, "Oh no, we almost didn't advance, well, maybe some 5 to 8 kilometers, and then it stopped. And suddenly there is a message by radio. I didn't take off my helmet. Order to deliver Commander Rotmistrov's message. Message to all the people, to all the soldiers. He said, 'Tankers, you made wonders. You stopped the German beast.' Only then we took heart again."
Due to the resistance of the Soviet troops, none of the German divisions achieved their intended objective. The German troops began their retreat from Prohorovka, which lasted 2 years and led them back to Berlin. There are certain historic events that change the lives of millions of people dramatically and leave an indelible mark on our memories. Such was the Battle of Prohorovka. The fields of southern Russia, they are sacred places for many people, places where the Soviet tankers demonstrated their tremendous heroism.